Hey, it is Nikki B on the scene, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another beat with me. And yes, we are talking about the Ultimatum Queer Love. And listen, I'm giving my rough opinion on this. I watched this, I finished this season probably 2 weeks ago. I'm really basing this off of memory, so if I do misspeak, please forgive me. Just correct me in the comment section. But if you are rude, you will be blocked and I will cut you up. So for those of you that don't know what the Ultimatum is, it's basically a reality TV show where a bunch of couples come on and one of their partners, give the ultimatum of, hey, I want to get married, and since you don't want to get married, or I feel like I don't know where you stand, I'm gonna give you the ultimatum. We're gonna be separated. I'm gonna go be paired with someone else while you get paired with somebody else. And basically in that experiment, you're gonna you're going to figure out whether you want to be with your partner, which would technically in that moment will be your ex, or you want to break up with your ex and find a new love. And if you really think about it in the back of your head, it's toxic. And, one is cool, queer love. We live for that. Representation, awesome. And, it's all women as well. So I don't know if they do come out with another season, they're gonna do a queer love but with all men. I don't know how that's gonna go, but I would definitely be tuning into that. But this was all women doing their thing. There were so many things that stood out to me, and the crazy thing is, I heard from other people, a lot of people was giving some of the bad people some grace. I'm like, you guys are very nice. You guys have a heart of gold. My heart got a little bit of gold, and I got a little bit of coal, and I got a little bit of silver. Some of these people are just not it. I'm gonna tell you who gave the ultimatum and who those people got paired up with, okay? Lexi, Xander, Yoli, Sam, and Mildred. Those are the people that gave the ultimatum to their partners. And it's so crazy because how they switched up in the season. I'm just like, but you gave the ultimatum, and somehow you never even wanted to get married, this and that, all this extra stuff, whatever. And Lexi's original partner was Ray. Xander's original partner was Vanessa. Yoli's original partner was Mal. Sam's original partner was Ozzy. And Mildred's original partner was Tiffany. And who everyone got paired up with is Lexi got paired up with Mal, Sam got paired with Tiff, Mildred got paired with Ozzy, Vanessa got paired with Ray, and Xander got paired with Yoli. So we're gonna start off with the first pairing that I mentioned, Lexi and Mal. Now, to think about Lexi, I think Lexi is a cool girl. I think she knows what she wants. She's very, very opinionated, very strong-minded. I just feel like her and Mal didn't work because they were both similar to each other, if you get what I mean. Because Mal is another person who is also very strong-minded. I wouldn't say she's super opinionated, but definitely when the time comes, she will definitely speak her mind. She knows what she wants. She's very assertive, and they both have dominant personalities. And I feel like that was yeah, you're definitely not gonna be a good fit. And then also, I don't think they was really attracted to each other. But I'm glad that they, they worked with each other. They talked about things. It was weird. It was kind of weird conversations. I want to have children, this and that, and gonna have mixed children. How do you feel about having black kids? Me with the black person, which I get why Mal was asking it. So it's not necessarily it was completely bad, but it was just kind of awkwardly brought up. I don't know. Yeah, there was chemistry, but not chemistry in a way that was romantic. So the next pairing is Sam and Tiff. Now, Sam, I believe she is a really nice woman. I think she really tries to help people, tries to be really understanding. I think she's a good person. We've seen that throughout the show, how she, she tries to talk, she tries to, understand the other person, but obviously she kind of cuts herself short because it's if you keep continuously doing that, then you're gonna kind of be a punching bag for people, which we kind of saw how she was with Ozzy, because Ozzy was just yeah, and then kind of let her do what she do. And even when she had that conversation with, I think when they had where were they, at the lounge or whatever, and it was all kind of just chatting about oh, how's my partner, and everyone's kind of fishing for negative things that the other person might say about their partner. But she was just I think after Mildred said what she had to say, she was yeah, Ozzy could be like that. And Mildred asked well, what do you do since you've been with her, how do you even deal with that? And she was I just let her meditate, or I go in the next room, which is okay, you let her do her thing. But when will there ever be a time that you're actually going to bring this situation up so the both of you guys can actually resolve it? And especially, like I said, we know how Ozzy is. She avoids it. And she will avoid it. It will never be brought up again. And all that is just like, dang, Sam is really dealing with a lot. And then now she's with Tiff, who is pretty much just going rah, 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 rah. And Sam is just like, you know, I'm talking to you. I'm trying to be as nice as I can. I'm this and that. I just want you to understand. But again, it's kind of like the same thing. Although, over time, I felt like their relationship actually got better with each other because they actually tried to understand each other. And the thing with Tiff is like, Tiff is not a perfect person. She is not a great person. She definitely has issues of her own. First of all, that whole dog situation, her talking about, oh, what she said, I don't know, I don't even remember what she said, but she said something about her dog, and she want her partner to be, I guess, cool with the dog, or whatever the case may be, basically like animals, this and that, and she's like, oh, basically, if you don't like my dog, you don't like me. Like, she was just complaining. I'm just like, what are you talking about? If you don't get that big behind furball out of this bed before we sleep, it's going to be a problem. And keep in mind, let me not be a hypocrite. Y'all see my dog in my video. My dog has been on my bed, but my dog is small. My dog is like a little bean. Her dog is the size of a football field, and you want that man? It's practically a man in a bed? No. Get the dog bed, the plush dog bed, put that in the corner of your room, and that's where your dog will go. And thing is, it's like she wasn't trying to understand where Sam was coming from. And Sam looked like she cares about animals. I think she had an animal of her own. Maybe I'm making that up, but she said she likes animals, this and that. She cares about animals, but it's like certain boundaries. It's like Tiff wasn't understanding boundaries, and that's how I knew in Tiff's own relationship with Mildred, there was no boundaries. It's not about Sam not wanting your dog in the bed and disliking your dog and disliking you, because it's not about that. It's about boundaries. She's not comfortable with animals in her bed. So you mean to tell me you can't sleep at night without your dog licking your feet, kissing up on your lips? Because y'all love doing that. Y'all love having dogs on your lips. And then I feel like that was also a result of her not being attracted to Sam. And, you know, she wasn't feeling her. And you can tell the difference between who was attracted to who based on how they was getting all fancy dancing, you know, prancing and fingering. We saw how they was looking. So she just wasn't attracted to Sam. Moving on. So now Mildred and Ozzy. Honestly, F them both. I don't like either of them. I'm not going to be nice about it. Like I said, I feel like a lot of people's giving them a lot of grace. A lot of Sophia grace. It just wasn't it. Because for starters, Ozzy does not know how to communicate her feelings. She's very, obviously has an avoidant issue, and whatever trauma that she dealt with as a child. And keep in mind, this woman is 42 years old, or 43 now, because a year ago, whatever, she's in her 40s, and whatever trauma that she went through was obviously unresolved. And I think this show, first of all, being in a relationship, never mind the dating show, her being in a relationship is not good for her. She needs to seek therapy. She needs to talk about it. She needs to understand why she is the way she is. It's not just it's affecting her, like, all right, she's by herself and she's crying. Like, no, she's having mental breakdowns in the street, crying about what happened to her over 20 years ago. We can't be doing that. As at her big age, she needs to be focusing on that. And then on top of that, it's very disrespectful, because if you're with a partner and they're telling you, hey, this is something that bothers me, I'm just bringing it up to you, I know it's not something you want to hear about yourself, but I think it da. You know what she does? She packs her bag and she exits the room, and we don't know where the heck she goes. I hate that. I remember in back in the day, I had people do that to me whenever I would bring up something that I believe that needs to be talked about and needs some resolution to it. They would just up and walk away. And it's such a humiliating experience, because it's like, especially if you guys are in public and clearly you guys look like y'all together and you're talking about something that matters to you, you want the person to understand, and instead of them trying to listen and hear you out, they just up and walk. I know what Sam feels like. And then luckily the other friend was there to pretty much defending Sam. Is like, no, she did not say that. That's not what happened. It's like Ozzy was just creating scenarios in her head because she was being so defensive about holding her feelings and not actually addressing it. And it's not to say everything that Sam was saying was right about Ozzy. Like, maybe if Ozzy knew how to communicate, maybe things could be a little more understanding for Sam. So then Sam could be like, oh, okay, maybe I could approach this differently. But it's like they can't get there if Ozzy's gonna be We don't want to see that outside the freaking taco restaurant or wherever the heck they was at. We don't want to see that. And then also with Ozzy and Mildred, the way they cut, I was like, yeah, it's Aussie bad. But they did it sneakily with Mildred, because I'm like, all right, Mildred really like putting her foot down on Ozzy. I'm like, thank you. Ozzy really needs somebody to just, give her that push. But then I realized towards the ending of the season, Mildred definitely poked at Ozzy in certain points that we just did not see. Because like I said, after knowing how Mildred and discovering who she really is, I'm like, maybe this scene when they was arguing with each other, maybe it's not completely Ozzy's fault. So I don't know. It made me look at the scene between both of them a little differently. And now we're going to talk about Vanessa and Ray. Now the both of them are very complicated. Not super complicated, but it's like they're hypocrites. A lot of people are hypocrites on the show. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of people are hypocrites on the show, but the both of them are very hypocrites, because it's like, why would you want to agree to come onto this show knowing the possibilities of your partners falling in love with someone else, or just liking someone? I wouldn't even say falling in love, because none of them loved each other, but just liking someone else and wanting something new. Vanessa really was on her high horse when she said, yeah, like, Xander is asexual, and she's only really attracted to me, so I already know she's not like anybody on the show. Like, basically she was secured in the non-fact of Xander not wanting anybody. But she's gonna go and do what she wants, because she thinks she's at the club. She thinks she's, just a regular hookup, boom, bada bing, da da da. While Xander just gonna sit there like, yeah, I don't like anyone. Like Xander's, and especially what we saw Xander do. And she was just a very weird person. Yeah, like, I don't know what she thought when she came on this show. Like, she may be too hot to handle. Probably would have been a better show for her or something, but this wasn't it. And then especially she was making comments like, oh, all of us should just do a big orgy, da la la la. And I'm just like, girl, you are weird. You gotta be a certain type of person to be on the show. You gotta be a certain level of desperation. People are really here trying to get married. They're looking for partners. It's like, you're just taking it as like, there's a bunch of cooter cats in my face and I want to, that's what you want to do. And I'm like, this is not that type of show. But to be honest, it felt like we was watching something else. We was watching Little XX, the other duplicate. It was given like, are we watching the same show? Like, I had to fast forward. I'm just like, I don't want to see that. But Nessa was just on a different type of time, and she had like, the very bubbly personality, just all like, oh my god, how are you? Yeah. It's just very annoying. And it's crazy because Vanessa, you over here clapping cheeks with Ray, and you're mad that Xander clapped cheeks with Yoli when y'all both did the same thing. Like, you're crying, how could you? But you did the same thing. You did the same thing. The only difference is you didn't like Ray like that to actually want to marry her and to be with her. But Xander actually ended up liking Yoli. She probably doesn't want to be with her forever or want to get married with her or anything, but she wanted to choose Yoli. I don't think she was the super villain of this season. I think a lot of people were the super villains. It was definitely Vanessa, but also Mildred and Yoli and Ray. Those are the villains of this show. It's not just Vanessa only. So I just want people to understand it's not only just Vanessa that was doing the stupid stuff. It was 3 other people behind her, because they was all shady. And then especially once I think her and Ray started, stop, cootie cat and clapping cheeks or whatever, she ended up texting Lexi about her, finishing clapping cootie cat, whatever. And it's just like, okay, I'm just like, I just couldn't understand, like, why would you tell her then? If you knew how Lexi would have reacted and how it would make you feel, because Lexi, you've been with her for like 2-3 years or whatever, how long they've been with each other. So if you understand the consequences that can come out of this, then what made you think by telling Lexi this would be any good? I think you just wanted to hurt Lexi. Why? I don't know. When it comes to Ray, she's just very like, I don't know what I want. And mind you, Ray is older than Lexi. I would have thought Lexi was like 30 based on how she moves in society. But no, Ray's older than her. And she's like, I don't know what I want, this and that. Like, I really just don't know. Girl, get it together. And this is why people need to ask a lot of important questions before they get into a relationship. I'm gonna get into that a little later in the video. But she was acting very confused about everything. She's like, oh no, now I'm sad, now she's mad at me. And then Lexi, I guess after she heard that information, she just kind of went on a little rampage. Like, she was just livid. The scene where she's confronting Vanessa, like, oh, so what did you guys do? You guys, and then she was like, you guys asked, right? Then what was it? And then, Ray's in the back just looking all sad, and Vanessa's like I don't get it. You know how Vanessa be, she be doing everything too. She be like, oh my god. I don't think she herself really understood what she signed up for, what you signed your relationship up for. Basically, you guys are signing up to break up, to basically sleep with other people, and if something happens, then what? Make it make sense. So that's why I didn't understand Ray, and I don't feel sorry for her. She just gives me, I'm stupid and I need somebody to hold my hand. Xander and Yoli, I don't like either of them. Like, I feel like a lot of people, again, is giving the Sophia grace to Xander. But Xander is not a good person either. So every time she gets put on the spot with questions and, you know, it's a moment for her to set things straight, she goes, like, why are you so stiff, Xander? You look like a freaking ostrich. Move your head, move your lips, move your eyes. Blink twice if you are scared. And she just looking around. It's like, especially when Mal confronted her when it was in the lounge, it was basically, it was like, whatever, he confronted her, but, you know, asking them questions. Cause Mal's not stupid. Mal know they did something. It's like, at this point, she just trying to see if you gonna say it or not. And then, you know, again, Xander is avoiding it, not really saying anything, just kind of like brushing past it, because Xander is not a confrontational person. She's, and I'm just not in confrontation, she's just not honest. She's not honest at all, and especially at the reunion when basically they asked the question like, well, y'all did nothing on this Coachella trip, and we know how Coachella be looking like. We've seen the Snapchats, we've seen the Instagram posts, we know what people do at Coachella. So you mean to tell me y'all went to Coachella and not do nothing? Like, we saw y'all on camera clapping Cootie Cat, so it's like, of course I did something. And the silence just proved it. The silence proved it. Xander was looking red, looking like a red ostrich, and then Yoli with her nasty yacky ponytail with her big behind widow's peak, looking like a bird. Y'all both are birds, and y'all was sitting there looking stupid. With that being said, yeah, Xander, she just wasn't just being out there, just wasn't just saying what it is. It's like she was just always avoiding. Keep in mind, all these couples been with each other for a long period of time. We're gonna say like for 2 to 4 years with each other. So it really mind boggled me when all that went to the drain, especially with Yoli. It's like, you seem like you really liked Mal, but then once you find this white chick, it's like, oh, I'm in love, I want kids, I want to be with you, let's share a bank account because, you know, I want somebody to pay for my pregnancy. It's like, girl, yeah, I just found that to be really just like weird. And I'm glad that at least with Mal at the reunion, she realized that and she spoke about it, you know, finally, because I feel like in the beginning, earlier in the reunion, she was just like trying to be nice. I'm just like, if it was me, I'm not being nice. I don't care if it's a year ago, I'm speaking my mind. I'm gonna let y'all know, and then I'm gonna be done. And I'm glad she killed her with grace, you know, with kindness. You know, she did what she had to do. She read her, and it kept Yoli quiet. And Yoli tried to bring like energy towards Mal, like, oh, but you left because this and that, da da da. But I'm like, but you planned trips to Hawaii with Xander, and Xander was like, yep, we did. We were planning a trip to Hawaii. That's all the couples that was paired with each other and everything. So now I'm just gonna talk about the reunion. You know, Mal cutting Yoli up, doing what she had to do, and I'm glad that she did that because, like I said, after she cut her up, Yoli was really quiet. Yoli didn't really have much to say to that. Everyone kind of just talked about it, but then it got really awkward because it came to Mildred and Tiff. Tiff barely had any time to speak at all. By barely, I mean she had no time to speak because Mildred was like a cannon fire, just going off and off and off and off. And if y'all watch Tiffany's YouTube video, and I watched it the other day, I think I would recommend for you guys to just watch it just to get her perspective. I feel like this is what we could have gotten on the show if Mildred would have shut her fat pie hole mouth. They had Mildred talk for 15 minutes, basically coming at Tiff the entire time, and no one said anything. And it pissed me off because definitely looking back, I'm like, it definitely felt like it was a long thing. But then, you know, they obviously had to cut it up a certain way where it looked like she was only talking for like 2 minutes. And Mildred just doesn't make any sense. Mildred, I'm sorry, she's a bad mother. And not a bad mother because she doesn't take care of her kid. She's a bad mother because she wants somebody else to take care of her and her kid. And it's like, no, you had the kid at a young age. I think Mildred is only like in her 30s. So you had a kid at a young age. This is your responsibility, meaning that you should have figured it out on your own because you stepped into the adult life when you had that kid. And on top of that, your kid is a special needs child. So that's another layer of that. So it's not like, all right, he's just an adult. He's a special needs adult that needs a lot of supervision. Like, you can expect the people that come into your life be willing to help you take care of this child. Not even raise the child because her child is older. Like, people talk about her child as if it's like a little kid. Like, no, her child is working. There's you know how many special needs people that are actually working right now. They're out here. Like, don't be fooled. Like, they do work. Tiff, who doesn't have any children, you know, who may not want to really have kids. I don't know. I don't remember if she said she really wanted to build a family, whatever. You have to understand this is a person who has never dealt with that. yet. And on top of that, a special needs child. That is a lot. You want her to marry you, you want her to take care of you in every way, but not only take care of you, but take care of you and your child. Because of how Mildred is, it's like, how do you expect Tiff to not only fix whatever y'all got going on, but then also in the same time try to build a bond with your special needs son? Like, that is a lot to deal with. Like I said, Mildred is not no perfect person, very condescending, a narcissist. She is a horrible person. So that was just never going to work. So until you get yourself together, Mildred, nobody's going to want to be with you, and not only be with you, but also want to help you take care of your kid. And she was just being rude and nasty, and I didn't like the fact that she brought like the sex games and stuff like that. I was like, how does that even make any sense? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and that's how you know when people who are like her, they just want to just hurt the person. Like, everything she was saying, she just wanted to hurt Tiff, and it did hurt her because she ended up running off stage crying, and she, you know, drove away in a car. Mildred doesn't care about resolution. She doesn't care about actually understanding the situation and understanding her actions. She just cares about hurting the person, and that's it. And then on top of that, it's crazy how people missed the whole DV case. Mildred threw a dog crate at Tiff. I want to get that straight, because some people said, you know, I watched a lot of reviews. Some people say that Tiff is the one that got called on with called the cops on and stuff like that. She got arrested. Like, no. What happened was Mildred and Tiff were arguing, and it escalated, and then Mildred ended up throwing a dog crate, from what I remember from the review. She threw a dog crate at Tiff. Did it hit her? I don't know. But after she thrown that, Tiff called 911. The cops came and arrested Mildred, and Tiff were involved in a DV case. And I felt like this would have been the perfect opportunity to, honestly, if I was a host, I'm like, well, we're not going to bypass that, and since you're talking this much, I'm going to ask you to either be quiet or you can leave the stage. I would have straight up just be like, we're not going to hear anything more. And they just brushed past that so easily, and I hate how Yoli was just sitting next to her and co-signing her, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course you two would love to be freaking friends, freaking butt buddies, because y'all act just the same. It's just that Mildred is an abuser, and then Tiff even mentioned, you know, sometimes she be talking to her son the type of way. And like I said, I don't think she's a good mother. I don't see it, the way she behaves to other people, and then she try to use her race a way to disrespect people, which is so freaking crazy. Yeah, overall, the only couple that stayed together was Ozzy and Sam. They both have similar backgrounds, because I don't think, well, we know Ozzy's parents don't know that she's a lesbian, which is, again, mind-boggling to me, because you're on national television, so I'm sure in Austria they probably have this on their Netflix side. And if your mother sees your face, I think at that point, you can wait all you want. I think your mother knows by now. Yeah, that's the only couple that stayed together. Everyone else broke up. Reasonably so, because it's like, all y'all are trash. This season was a trip. I enjoyed it. It was very entertaining. It had a lot of drama. It was different for sure. And whatever other season they come out with, I'm definitely going to watch it. I am looking out for that.